tell you why. This morning, you heard the story earlier. A bunch of these restraints and caveats have been put back on Iran. They've done a lot of things in the past, and now they've threatened to close up the Straits of Hormuz. What does that mean? Well, that means that Riki Ellison and everybody involved in missile defense is taking a good look at this. And I'm not quite sure what part of the country, but I think it begins with an A, like Arizona. Where are you, Ricky?
You're close. Alabama.
Alabama.
We have
the started with an A.
The Alabama, in Huntsville. We have the annual big-time Army Space and Missile Defense get-together here with everybody.
Is there any more consideration? Is there any more conflict? Is there any more doubt going on about what the heck's happening in the quarterback situation in Alabama?
I don't think so. I think Nick's going to make that play.
Yep.
I'm not an Alabama fan.
Nor am I. You know that. Nor am I.
So,
the only kind of tide Ricky.
I would not send my son to that school because it's the NFL. That's the NFL. They're not even. The kid doesn't even enjoy college experience going there. It's full go.
The only roll tide we like is the one at Waikiki Beach, and you're not here right now to enjoy that. But Ricky, it is pretty important. I mean, a lot of the sanctions were put back in. What does this mean? What's going on in that end of the world right now? And is it good that we're slapping Iran back while we can?
I think it's good because there's a lot of talk, but there's no action. There's no action because of our deterrent of capability that's in that region shared by the GCC countries and ourselves. We have tremendous offensive capability right there at in Abu Dhabi and UAE. We are very powerful to deal with any situation they've got, and we can defend it. So, it's allowing, again, like North Korea, it's enabling the U.S. president to play hardball with these countries that have taken advantage of us a little bit over the years. Those sanctions should be delivered for what Iran's been doing in supporting capabilities to those terrorist groups all in the Middle East, attacking Israel. I mean, there's constant missile shots into Saudi Arabia by the Houthi out of Yemen. All of this being sponsored by Iran. And yes, we're going to tighten it up, and he's got confidence we're going to tighten it up because we can defend everybody, and we have the offense that'll come and strike. So we're stable. We're not stable. We're stable.
Well, we just had here the Pacific War Games, and it was a great show of strength by a lot. But isn't that exactly what Iran is doing this weekend with their own military exercises?
Yeah, but I don't think they have any partners besides terrorist groups. So, they're trying to provoke us and try to get some reaction. And I think it's in their advantage maybe to see the U.S. say, hey, anybody that deals with Iran is not going to deal with us. They're trying to separate us from our European partners and NATO partners that some of those countries are doing business with Iran that would be affected. So they're trying a tactic. And as you saw that quote from our Secretary of Defense, they've tried this before, and we've been successful in not allowing that to happen. But they are right there on that strait. That is contested water. I mean, it's very difficult for us to handle it in the water because of the smallness of the straits, the amount of submarines they've got.
Well, they got 100 ships, right? That's a lot for a little country like that. That's a lot of ships.
And in a very small area, but it's also those rockets and missiles that are right on land, also protecting the strait from their perspective. But I think they're just trying to flex and try to see if they can get any action to create possibly public opinion against us and so forth.
Well, I can tell you that, we are so far in Hawaii, pretty far removed from that. But it just goes to show you that you guys got to keep your thumb on these pulses of all of this stuff. One of the things that everybody wants to know is the capability of the actual hardware that we have, the actual stuff that we have to knock down short-range missiles in that part of the country, in that part of the world, let's say.
Well, the Iranians through the Houthi have exported and fired over 500 missiles into Saudi Arabia over the last couple of years, and they've shot the ones that were going to be effective. down. They've shot close to 300 or more of those things down.
That's amazing.
Mike, we have, and you think North Korea is our biggest place where we have missile defense systems. The GCC in the Persian Gulf or the Arabian Sea has more Patriot air defense systems than any place in the world. I mean, we are defended there better than anywhere for our capabilities. Just our U.S. Air Forces and so forth in that region are defended. And our allies have all, those GCC allies have all got that capability. So they've ramped up because the weapon of choice and Iran's favorite weapon is missiles and rockets. That's what they that's what they live off of. So
well, you get your
we're negating that.
You get your most bang for the buck with them, right? I mean, if you put them in a populated area, you make a pretty big statement.
Right. I mean, it's the cheapest way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're negating that, and now and I was here today with General Hyten, who is our STRATCOM commander, in charge of our whole nuclear and our deterrent on anybody to strike the United States, is now putting forward offense and defense, which we kind of politically didn't want to do or didn't do it in the last 20 years. But he has stated that having both our offensive deterrent, with the B-1, all the stuff that we can do offensively, and mixing it with our missile defense capability is really what has deterred North Korea big time. That's what he stated today. So it's kind of cool now we're seeing merging of our offense and defense together. Just, it's like a football team, bringing that together to play together. And that's a very powerful deterrent.
We often talk, Ricky, about the Aegis system. How present is the Aegis missile stuff in that part of the country, in that part of the world?
Well, it's there. We have one. We always have one Aegis B&D ship there, but it's in a little pond, right?
Yeah.
Very hard. It's got great capability, but it's overmatched because of all the land forces in Iran that can strike that. So we're not going to rely on that completely because of, its vulnerability, because there's too much. It gets overmatched in that situation. But we definitely have one there in those waters.
Okay, somebody just emailed about the Patriot, the Patriot air defense capacity. What's that?
The Patriot is an inside the atmosphere terminal air defense system that can hit the short range missiles and hit them. And they can do a direct hit with the PAC-3 and PAC-2. They can do with fragmentation.
Okay.
And these missiles are coming in the atmosphere, and they can defend airports. They can defend city blocks. And most of our Patriot systems, we have lots of them over there, are defending our air bases so they can be completely defended, so we can push out our offensive force projection through planes. So those Patriot systems, like I said, we have the most of them anywhere in the world now that are in the GCC or in the Persian Gulf countries.
Well, what about this? I mean, we look at protecting our airports and things. Do you find that the people in that part of the world, they're so much more informed than we are about the threats? That they know this stuff like they know what brand of cereal to buy. I mean, don't they? Seriously.
Yeah, because the threat's driving them. Because those guys are firing missiles.
Yeah.
They're firing. I just told you they fired 500. That's just ballistic missiles into Saudi Arabia. And you've got, 3 or 4 or 5,000 going into Israel over the last couple of years? I mean, this is their weapon. So everybody knows. Everybody wants to have an Iron Dome or a Patriot missile defense system, and our big THAAD systems are being developed there too that do because you always want a in-depth layered defense where you can take an early shot, and the Patriots don't take early shots. They're inside the atmosphere. Okay, they're lower.
How good are the domes? I mean, we know that there was a lot of skepticism in the beginning, but didn't it turn out at the end of the day that they work, these Iron Domes?
Yeah, Iron Domes are great, but they're only made for dumb rockets.
Exactly.
They're not made for sophisticated missiles. And they work, obviously, and I think there's probably around 3,000 intercepts that they've done over the couple of years that they've been in place. And you don't have to fire those if those mortars aren't going to harmful places. Mm-hmm. But that's good. Our Patriot systems are great. Our THAAD systems are great. Our GMD systems are good. I mean, if you look at it, all that testing and all that stuff that we've gone through the last 10 years with people doubting the system and having to test to prove that the systems work and to modernize it to make them even more efficient now have all come to fruition because we haven't, what is it, 6, 7, 8 months since North Korea tested a missile?
Yeah, at least.
And now, and North Korea, and Iran's not doing, I don't see them doing anything. You see them yet poking the bear? I would doubt that they would poke. Like they're not, they've got that force out there, but I'd be very doubtful that they will cross that international water line or, hold the Strait of Hormuz and home it down. We're not in that kind of, we would strike.
Yeah, but we, obviously the defense system is standing out in front of the weapon system a little bit now, realizing how important that is. I mean, you talked about the percentage that was spent on defense as opposed to offense. It seems to be that number, at least in this administration, it was a pathetic 1 or 2%.
Yeah, it's not even 2%. I mean, it's below that figure. It's sort of like the New England Patriots. It is. They spend more money on the offense than they do on the defense, and the defense is just an integral part. Now, you cannot just have offense anymore. You can't. And they're developing, our near peers, China and Russia, are developing those hypersonic capabilities and over the horizon cruise missiles and maneuverable stuff that we have to have defense for. We have to have it. So, we need, and I've been big pushing on getting at least 2%. How about 2% of our defense budget on defense?
Yeah, 2%.
That's too much.
Okay,
we're still not there yet.
Okay, since you used a football analogy, what's the latest on Red? Where is he and how's he doing?
Well, the New York Giants look great. I mean, most teams look great right now, right? Every team looks like they're going Super Bowl. They're in preseason camp, but I think the Giants looking great. Odell Beckham, probably the best he's ever played. They got this kid, Saquon Barkley, the second draft choice.
Oh, boy.
There's no linebacker. There's nobody in the league that can cover him out of the backfield on that. But, it's training camp, so it's different than it was in my day, where, my day you actually competed for jobs, and each cut was huge. Here, I think everybody's figured out what their starting lineups are, and, it's a different thought process, just not making sure anybody getting hurt or just getting everybody peaking at the right place. But I was out there last weekend to see that type of football practice, which is different than ours back in my day.
Yeah, and I guess you got to protect the assets, right? I mean, you don't want to run somebody too hard early because you're going to pay them a ton of money to go for the distance.
Hey, I'm old school. You got to toughen kids up, man. You got to be in shape. You got to be able to fight for 4 quarters, not be pretty boys and just show up and put your jersey on so you can outplay anybody. No. You got to condition and you got to bring the team together.
Hey, by the way, a real a nice big compliment. We've got a couple on this year's YIP project. I mean, talk about that, Riki. I mean, this was again another winner, particularly for Hawaii. Now that we're part of the YIP family.
Yeah, no. The amazing part of it is just the culture. You have a special culture. And I think the kids are interconnected with that, and it's awesome to have Roy and Sharon in our community.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
So powerful.
By the way, our primary election is this Saturday, and we're going to be talking with your buddy Mufi and Bernard Carvalho. As he's running for lieutenant governor. So I'm sure we'll have a little yip to be talking about during their festivities.
Well, they were both on our yip support.
Yeah, I know.
So both of them. We're great on that.
When are you here next, Riki?
I'll be coming out there, I think, in November for sure, maybe twice.
Okay.
I'm going to be going out there to go out to Korea and Japan and also out to Guam. So I'll be coming through.
All right.
Through Hawaii.
We'll keep a chair at the end of the bar open for you. Hey,
Thanks,
always a pleasure, my friend. And by the way, we've had a lot of compliments from people that have listened to our little segments and then checked out your MDA website. And so it must be very gratifying for the people that are backing you and helping you, realizing how many people you reach out to and connect with.
Yeah, well, the fact is that missile defense is making the world a safer place. That is the fact. It's the fact you're seeing it today in the Persian Gulf. You're seeing it in Hawaii with North Korea not launching anything or not testing anything. It's the more of the stuff we have, the safer we're going to be. And you're right. We're unbalanced in our offense versus defense. But let's get that deterrent. Let's get that balance right. And it's a great mission. It doesn't kill anybody. There's no fragmentation. It's a positive, powerful tool that assures your your allies, your teammates, that they're not going to get struck, protects, 1 billion people. I mean, why aren't we doing more of this?
Yep.
I mean, that's what we do today with our capability. 1 billion people we're defending, and we can get better at it. We can make it cheaper. We can do much bigger things with it, with directed energy, with boost-based energy, all sorts of different things to make it better. And we have to do it because our competitors are going up in space and doing things to beat our defenses. So we're going to have to play that game as well. We can't.
Stand up and do it. Hey, Ricky, always a pleasure, my friend. Safe travels.
You got it. Thanks, Mike.
Aloha, my boy. That's Riki Ellison. And his son, I mean, I'm telling you, playing for New York. Woo! Red, whoa. 6:53, Tourism Tuesday's coming up right after the top of the hour.